Okay, guys, it's already 6:30, and hello, guys, and is my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Bangkit student. Good evening. Thank you for being here. And in our ELT today, we will discuss about critical thinking and problem solving. And the session will lead by our instructor, Kak Rifki Dullah. Okay, guys. Uh, Before we start our session, maybe we can take an ice breaking. Yeah, this is just for refreshment. And the ice breaking is guess the movie and serial. And maybe one of yours is have an hobby of watching movie or serial on Netflix and or Amazon. And yeah, are you ready? Let's go. Yeah. Okay. The number one. What do you think the title of this movie? The hint is animated character that compete in a race on icy tracks. Do you have any question? Do you have any answer about these hints? Okay, Cars 3 from Kak Bagus. Balto. Okay, I never heard that. Balto. Okay, and the answer is Cars. Yeah, congrats ya to Kak Bagus to answer these hints correctly. Okay, I think from here you understand the game, yeah, the rules. And what about this? What do you think the title of this movie or serial? Okay, The Lion King. Yeah, and the answer is correct. The Lion King. I think this is pretty easy, I guess, yeah. Black Panther. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, I think this very obvious, yeah, to those who knows this. Harry Potter. Yeah, the answer is yeah. I think the Hogwarts is pretty obvious. Yeah, the Harry Potters, and this is very specific, yeah, in the Soccer Stone. For okay, next. What about this, guys? Wal-E from Kak Teshar. Jatura. What Jatura, guys? Okay, I think one of your is right, which is Wall-E. Okay, we next. Okay, what about this? This is this is not any there is not Pencaksilat in England. Yeah, the answer is Sherlock Holmes. Okay, and what about this, guys? Yeah, okay. I think everyone is correct, yeah. Not everyone, but most of you is correct. The answer is Tintin. And yeah, what about this, guys? Yeah, okay. Maybe the ramen is in very obvious. And yeah, the answer is Naruto. And this is the last, okay? This is one of my favorite movie. What about this? This is not Wall-E. Okay, it's the Interstellar. Okay, yeah, correct. The answer is Interstellar. Okay, maybe that's our ice breaking. Thank you very much, guys, to answer the question. Okay, Kak Rifki, now it's your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah,
Okay.
what an ice breaking from our mentor. Uh, Thank you for the ice breaking, and thank you guys for having me. Before we go into the session, I would like to give some sort of briefing, what will be actually learning from this session. Uh, so in this session, it's all about soft skill. As we know that soft skill is not much take your time seriously as you are in hard skill, because all the thing that we are learning here is about what will be happening in the future, especially in your career as a tech developer and also in other career as well. So in this session, we'll be talking about critical thinking and problem solving, which I believe every single of us have actually implemented this soft skill every single day. Then, why we are learning here in Bangkit. Uh, so in critical thinking and problem solving is part of the soft skill that I believe is pretty much underrated, as people usually start from the conclusion. So people jump to conclusion. Every time there is a problem, we assume that we have already know the problem, what the problem is and how to solve it. But most of the time, you have to believe that there must be a problem that is unique enough for you to think creatively, to think out of the box. And that is why we're going to have critical thinking and problem solving. Okay, so let's start with introduction. My name is Rifki, and I've been working in data field for the last 4 years now. I start with LKPP, Lembaga Pengadaan Barang dan Jasa, Kebijakan Pengadaan Barang dan Jasa, as a data engineer, as part-time student. And then I continue my career as a data analyst in Indonesian Corruption Watch. So same here, we still learning about the data, especially in the procurement field. Kita bahas data lagi terkait pengadaan, ada pengadaan jembatan, pengadaan gedung, dan kita cari potensi fraudnya menggunakan data analis. That time we were using big data as in COVID. Python Spark was one of the most popular tool in 2021. So I continue my career again in data shift. Yeah, it was part of startup, and I was a staff and the founder of it in 2022. And today I am a statistician at Badan Pusat Statistik. So that was my work experience. Meanwhile, my education was pretty simple. I was learning at STS, Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Statistik, in 2018. And I was Bangkit graduate of 2020, the first batch. And in 2020, it was Bangkit workshop held offline ya. Kita di Bangkit punya beberapa cohort in Jakarta, Bandung, Bali, Balikpapan, if I'm not mistaken, or Surabaya. So we were 5 cohort, and all of us were having the pretty much good time because it was before COVID, the Bangkit 2020. So we have some sort of, if you have already watched the drama like Startup, yeah, we have some sort of sandbox. There were mentor and instructor at the same place. We were learning in the same office with them. It was pretty much a good experience, and I would like to share with you guys what I've been learning in this session. So yeah, let's here are the ground rules. The first is give your full attention in class. Please mute your microphone when you are not talking, and please keep your camera on. Turn on the CC feature on Meet if you want to. Use raise hand. Yeah, please use raise hand feature, or you can also use the chat to ask question. There is part also the Q&A features in Gimit. And last and is make this room a safe place to learn and share. Okay, what we are going to learn today are split into 3 learning objectives. The first one is to improve our decision making through critical thinking skills. Second is enhance problem solving skills. Last but not least is application of those 2 into the real world scenarios, especially in the career in the tech world. And these sections will be start with introduction, critical thinking, and problem solving. So we're gonna jump into the first section is the introduction. We'll be having a video about critical thinking. You may have seen this video, but I'm gonna...
Here's a brain teaser. A rooster is on the roof of a barn facing east. The wind is blowing to the west at 10 miles per hour. The rooster lays an egg. Which direction does the egg roll? If you want, you can pause the video and think it over. The answer? There is no egg. The rooster didn't lay one because roosters are male. Did you get it right? Let's pick this apart and see why many people have difficulty with this brain teaser and so many others. First, it's easy to overlook details or accept them without questioning. In this brain teaser, the answer could be found in the second word, rooster. In hindsight, we realize it's impossible for roosters to lay eggs, but it's easy to overlook when it's mentioned casually in the brain teaser. Another process at work in this brain teaser is misdirection. There were several details included that we may have paid too much attention to. The fact that the rooster was facing east, and that the wind was blowing west at 10 miles per hour. In the end, these details had nothing to do with the actual answer, but because they seemed important in the context of the brain teaser, they directed us away from the relevant information. The same techniques used to solve brain teasers can also be applied to real-world situations. When you're trying to figure something out, it's important to analyze the information that's available to you. Are there any key details I may be missing? Am I being misled by something? Could I be thinking about this in another way? Brain teasers not only help to keep your mind sharp, but they can help improve your critical thinking skills as well. Let's finish things off with another brain teaser. You have a single match and are in a dark room with a candle, an oil lamp, and a gas stove. Which do you light first? The answer, the match.
Okay, that's pretty much the sum of the first section. It's all about the distraction, because today we have really sort of a lot of things to put our attention into, but remember that we have to prioritize. Okay, We all have to prioritize the main problem. What is the main actually questioning in our life? For example, in this problem, the question was, what does the direction the egg rolls? Yeah. Meanwhile, we forgot the information that the chicken was a rooster. Yeah. So it was a male and it didn't produce any eggs. So that small details could lead to the bigger solve of the problem. Nah, so this is all about how we maintaining focus to the prioritize and also the main problem. Here also another key quote, yeah, of the day. The essence of the independent mind lies not in what it thinks, but in how it thinks. Okay, not in what it thinks, but in how. So remember that human always involves emotion. It's part of our nature and it's part of our daily life since the very beginning of the time. Yeah, humans start to think with their hearts. But remember that in order to solve problem optimally, we have to think with our heads. And remember about how it thinks means that we have to use our logic, not only our hearts by emotion, because emotion could lead us to the small details, to other misdirection, to unimportant and unrelevant information. Okay, so how we think is more important than what it thinks, because what human thinks most of the time involves emotion, and that's part of the research that we're going to be discussing in this section also. Thanks to Christopher Hitchener. Okay. So before we going further, I would like to discuss here critical thinking. Here is the act of analyzing facts. Okay, in order to collect information and data, asking thoughtful information or question, and analyzing possible solution. So this is only the textbook definition of critical thinking. My own definition would be critical thinking is how you think out of the frame in order to get the best possible outcome. Okay, so in our life there will be a lot of options. For example, after we are graduating, are we choosing to continue our study to our bachelor degree, from bachelor to the master degree maybe, or continuing our career in Bangkit? For example, you could be the mentor, or you could be searching for a new opportunity in career, or you want to take a break. Yeah, most people think that there are only three options, but remember, you can took internship, you can took a lot of possibility out there, and there was more than three options. So that's what critical thinking for me. It was all about thinking out of the frame for the best possible outcome. So we don't limit ourselves. Remember, you have learned the open mindset, yeah, and closed mindset. Yeah, open mindset mean like you have to grow every time there is any opportunity. So that is critical for me. Critical thinking for me. Here are the quick discussion lah. You can see that there are 5 steps, and uh, there's a question: what if step 3 and step 4 we skip that? What is going to happen? And please drop your name in the chat box or unmute yourself, yeah, to share your thought. The first one, for example, we are a patient and we visit a doctor. Next, we say we have a serious headache. And then the doctor asks the patient several questions, yeah, of course, to diagnose and examine. And fourth step is the doctor asks the patient what he ate, what he drank in the past, and he found out that our eating schedule was irregular, yeah, due to work reasons. And last, the doctor can have the diagnose. So what happened if the doctor doesn't examine, doesn't ask questions about what we have done before? Anyone could answer what if the doctor skipped step 3 and 4? Let me ask siapa ya? Muhammad Alif. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
How are you, Alif?
I'm doing good.
Yes, sir. What do you think, Alif? What if the doctor skips step 3 and 4?
Uh, it probably if doctors skip steps 3 and 4, the doctor would miss critical information about the patients. I think.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Alif. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Alif said, we're gonna miss some sort of information. But most importantly, is in the next slide, that this scenario means that the wrong solution is more dangerous. Okay, it should be here in the next slide, but it's okay. I'm just gonna explain it. So when we think that our solution was the best possible outcome, yeah, from the all available options, and we all into that solution, but turns out that it was wrong. The doctor in this case, falsely diagnosed that we are not having a gastritis. Instead, we are just having the regular headache, and the medicine, also the treatment will be different, yeah. And the severe gastritis will be deathly, even level. Okay, so small thing like small details could lead to a misinformation and could lead to a worse scenario. So that is how important of the asking question and examine into diagnose of what the real problem is. Here also another discussion, yeah, what does it mean to be critical thinker? And I'm gonna explore it right now. So being a critical thinker is to analyze the best possible solution from each available situation. Like I said before, we are not framed into the possible selection or option only. We may think out of the box to offer more solution and to get the most possible outcome. Okay. Here are the reasons, yeah, why is critical thinking important. There are more and more reasons every day, but here are some of the key that I've been believe that it's very important, especially in your career. Yeah. The first one is critical thinking helps you to be more independent. Why? Because every time you solve a problem, you are growing better. There must be something that you have to learn from the problem that you have solved in the past, and it helps you to be more independent when the same problem or similar problem happen in the future. Second, is it promotes creativity. Next, important for self-reflection. How far we have gone, yeah. How far we have be in Bangkit. Like this is the fifth soft skill. So it's like the self-reflection about ourselves. Next is critical thinkers are happier because we don't really have much issue solving problems, and life is all about problems. And last, it enables you to be a great problem solver. Okay, so that was the introduction of critical thinking. It's pretty much the overrated soft skill in LinkedIn, but remember that it is always be part of our life. So it is very, very relevant and important in the soft skill module 4. It's critical thinking. Yeah, here are the framework of critical thinking and problem solving. You may use this framework, but remember that this is just rule of thumb. This is the best practice that we offer to you. You can always have your own framework of how you can think and critically and problem solving by your own way. So the first one is what? Understand what the problem is. So that's the first ever that you have to ask to yourself every time you face a problem. Is that really the problem? And if it's not the problem, what is the main problem? So keep asking about why. Next, asking why, how do, yeah. 5W1H in Indonesian, we always have that as the rule of answering and identifying the main problem or the root problem. So let's see what or understand the problem is. There are characteristic of critical thinker ya. Okay, here are the characteristic. We, as I said before, have open-mindedness, skepticism, logical reasoning, effective communication. Skepticism here means that we always ask of what is happening. Okay, we don't suddenly trust new things, yeah, new information. We have to evaluate. We have to test either the information that is going in our heads is really true, or is it something that we have to filter at the first place. So skepticism really important in today's world. Okay, we gonna straight to the first, yeah, understand the problem. This is about the first step of what is the real problem. Yeah, remember it always start with question. So in this case, we're gonna ask about who, yeah, who caused the problem, for example. So we are having a discussion about, let's say, teamwork. In teamwork, there will be some sort of challenges, and the best question to start is who. Who is causing the challenge for our team the most? And then situation. What are the situation that this guy or this ladies caused? Yeah. Next is the complication. So because of those situation, what are the complication? Remember asking and keep asking. Those will give you more and more information that will lead to the main problem. Okay. So, and last is the problem statement. We conclude from what information that we have so that we can take a silver lining, because when you have the root problem, you can always solve another problem. Yeah. So don't focus on distraction, instead focus on the problem. For example, in teamwork, there will be most of the time someone who is AFK or someone who is having hard times with the network and stuff. But remember that there will be some sort of silver lining if you want to keep up with them. You can have some sort of uh, pembagian tugas. You can also have another solution with your mentor. Yeah, communication, effective communication is always part of critical thinking. So yeah, we're gonna step into the next slide, is breaking down the problem into easy to solve chunk. When you have the main problem, it feels like you and your problem is like we cannot solve it. It's too big. It's too huge for us to solve. But what's really going on is that you can break down your problem into more and more smaller problems. Okay? So when it's smaller, it feels easier to do, and you have to do it right away. Yeah. So breaking down a problem is one of the way you can solve the problem easily. Okay, another class exercise. Yeah, the problem definition. Here we have another scenario. An e-commerce company, let's say ABC, want to double its revenue this year. To achieve that, they launched a flash sale. I think we all know what company this is. Featured earlier this year to penetrate new market segment. It worked well in the first 3 months when the feature captured the targeted market. They enjoyed the double revenue growth. Unfortunately, in the fourth month, ya, their competitor XYZ, anggap aja keranjang hijau, launch a similar flash sale feature in a gamified format. Jadi ada gamenya. ABC surveyed its users and the respondent felt the flash sale was great and exciting. Still, they frequently compare it to its competitors because of the gamification features. In the fourth and fifth month, sales dropped by 5% per month, yeah, compared to the first 3 months. So the instruction is that to define the problem statement with the problem definition workflow. Remember, the best workflow from Bangkit is to ask question. Either that is what, who, where, when, and then write it down on your personal notebook, as it will be very important for your assignment. You can copy that and pass that into the next assignment in this module. Okay, I'll give you like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, yeah, because this is pretty much easy. So we'll be having 5 minutes, and I'll be asking some of you guys to define the problem definition workflow. Okay, 5 minutes, yeah. Okay, it's been like almost 5 minutes. So the clue is to ask the question, yeah, to the scenario. So I'd like to point out someone to answer this. Saryanti Hikmah, can you hear me?
Yes, Kak.
Nah, could you please define the problem statement with the problem definition workflow?
Yes, Kak. From the scenario is it's present the ABC company is want to double its revenue, but they initially success by launching a flash sale, but then face decline in sales when a competitor yaitu XYZ company using same feature flash sale too.
Okay, do you have any other question to the scenario in order to break the information down? For example, who are the related stakeholders? Are those the directors or maybe the sales team? Yeah, or you can ask when, because the information here only for month. Yeah, it's in the same year. What happened in the last year or next year? It will be part of the way we could have the problem statement. So, what do you think? What question should we ask to this scenario?
I think is their yeah, maybe I think the company is like most likely every year is memang berselisih like that. So like maybe I'm using this like in this present like Honda and Daihatsu and Toyota like they are using the same strategies too. I think like that.
Okay, very good, very good. So we learned from Sari that we can also relate this problem to the other problem, yeah. So the problem is pretty much the same with what happened in Toyota, Daihatsu, and stuff. Yeah, there will always be the market competition, and with the similar problem, we can also have the similar problem statement. Okay, so let's take a look at what is the main problem from this scenario by Bangkit. I didn't say that all of your answer was straightforward wrong, but this is just pretty much what is the most, let's say, optimal problem definition workflow. Ini dia. First we ask who. The product owner ya. Jadi ada owner from each of the company, and next the product user also involved in this problem. Next is the business team and also the competitor. So here are the stakeholders that is involved in these problems. Next, the situation. What is the situation? So ABC company made a target to double its revenue. So they launched flash sales and successfully doubled its revenue for the first 3 months. And then what happened? The complication. The revenue suddenly dropped by 5% in the fourth and fifth month because of a competitor launched a gamified flash sale feature that was more attractive to the user. So here we emphasize on having to understand the step by step of the problem and not jumping to conclusion. Remember not to jump to conclusion, because default is in the details. There is the code that says that, and pretty much it's very very relevant from what we are learning in machine learning and also in cloud computing. We have to pretty much pay attention to details. Okay. And same here in the class exercise, we also have to pay attention to what the problem is, what the situation was, and who are the stakeholders. We can also have the simplified problem statement. How should ABC company regain the market segment to double its growth revenue? To get its target. So in career, most of the real world scenario, the project manager team or HRD, they always have the target, and in order to get to that target, we as the, let's say, the developer have to work with them like most of the time to negotiate the target, because in this problem, yeah, to double the, let's say, revenue is not an easy task. There must be something that is happening, like the competition. Yeah, in this case is the revenue drop suddenly. All of the sudden, our plans didn't work, and those stuff. And in the real scenario, those, let's say, boss don't care gimana caranya. Caranya gimana? We have to get the job done. Yeah, most of the time, yeah, because we are dealing with bosses, not leaders. Yeah, most of the time. But still, there were pretty much solid and good company out there who still pretty much care about how we can get into our goals. Yeah, so they are not just setting the targets, they'll just also negotiate. We discuss about the status quo, what is happening right now, what are the complications, and that is why critical thinking could help you negotiate with your boss. Yeah, because this problem statement pretty much is the key of the discussion about how should ABC company regain the market, while there are other companies that are having the same market, which is the product user gitu. So I hope you guys understand the step by step, ya. It is very unique in other, let's say, problem in our words. Sometimes the question is not who, it's what. Not who, but when, and also why. Yeah, we get into that in the next slide. Nah, about the incorrect problem statement, for example, how can we sure that competitor will not be able to easily copy? It's not relevant actually. How to does the ABC launch a more enhanced flash feature? It's too specific. Other one is, how can e-commerce ABC achieve its revenue target this year? It's too broad. So, and the last, yeah, how should ABC company regain back the market segment to double its growth and make sure that the solution is not easily replicable to the competitor? It's not focused. There is too much to do. So we can compare that to the correct or the most efficient, yeah, and effective problem statement here is, how should ABC company, yeah, regain the market segment to double its growth revenue? Okay, based on that scenario, I would like to clarify what is a good problem statement. So a good problem statement must have like these three information, these three, like some sort of the checklist that you have to make sure that your problem statement is good enough. The first is relevant. Remember who is involved, what is happening, and what are the consequences of the situation. Because every choices have consequences. Yeah, make sure that the choice that you decided to choose have the relevant consequences to the situation. Next is specific. Don't be too broad, don't be too narrow or vague. And then last is to focus. Yeah, focus on addressing the main problem. Do not be distracted by other company or by other segment market. You have to focus on doubling your target. In that scenario, yeah, you have focus on doubling the target user, and still managing to get ahead of those competitor out there. Okay. Another key in the critical thinking is to understand the problem better. It seems pretty much easy, yeah. Like I said, avoid jumping into solution, avoid making assumptions, be critical and argumentative, avoid relying on feelings or emotions, yes, and aware of bias or selective perception. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, in our world today, we have most of distraction ever. Yeah, there was a lot of study about how we have severe ADHD, attention deficit disorder, and stuff, because we cannot really much focus and understand the problem better while we are doing multitasking. Multitasking is like overrated, because humans are designed to focus and solve one thing at one time. But you can train your mind into having multitasking skill, but still the result would not be effective. it is efficient, but it will sacrifice the effectiveness. There will be trade-offs. You feel me? So here are steps how you can understand the problem better. But remember that there must be other things that you have to remember when you are trying to understand the problem better. For example, other thing is like bias. The fifth point is very very important because we have a lot of bias in this world or selective perception. Yeah. One of the bias is that our fear instinct. If you have read Factfulness, it's book by Hans Rosling. Uh, he talked about how the fear instinct of human decide our choices. For example, you have a deadline right now, like in the next 5 minutes, you have to decide your answer. So you fear of the deadline, and you didn't even realize that you can negotiate or you can make them understand that you need more time to think, or you can even talk with the teachers about the deadlines. That still there are a lot of things you can do, but you still focus on that deadline and you submit like the worst selection ever because you were scared or you fear with the consequences of that deadlines. And those situation applies in much of our cases because we have always been dealing with time constraint, money constraint, and resources, other resources constraint, and those bias will affect our understanding of the problem. So the key is that this five thing is very important, but remember of avoiding bias is pretty much the most important one. So we have talked about what? By understanding what the problem is. Next, we're gonna talk about why. Yeah, by asking why, you can define the root cause. Okay, for example, yeah, here you can see that in the picture we have the real problem. Yeah, we have this real problem. Let me use this laser. We have this circle. So in this image, we can see that we have a problem, but we forgot that there always be the root cause of the problem. Nah, so in order to figure out the real problem, what the real problem is, we're gonna have this 5 whys analysis in order to find the main problem. How? By asking why 5 times or less, yeah, until you narrow the problem down into one root cause. Okay, for example, nih, we have the problem begadang, oversleep from napping. Let's say begadang aja lah, lebih relevan. So first one, we're gonna ask why we overslept. So let's say our reason is that our alarm didn't sound. Remember to ask another why our alarm didn't sound. The answer is, turns out our battery phone died. Yeah, so it's running out of battery. Remember to ask another why our phone battery died. Yeah, turns out we didn't charge it properly. Next, keep asking the same why. Why didn't charge properly? Turns out we have no habit to check our phone battery. So by asking 5 whys or less, yeah, we can narrow down the problem so that we can focus on the root problem. Okay. So by having a habit to check battery, we'll solve the problem of didn't charge properly, didn't have to die our phone battery, and the alarm should be sound. Or there will be another, let's say, solution. You can buy another phone, for example, or you can buy alarm baker alarm. Yeah. So remember to have to think out of the box, out of the frame, and to think creatively, because the solution is not limited into the available options only. Okay, so here are the class exercise of 5 whys analysis. It's pretty much easier than before because you only have to ask whys. Yeah, uh, I think I'm gonna skip this. Um, but it's okay lah. Yeah, we're gonna solve it together. Let me read this scenario. An e-commerce company again ya. Kita lagi-lagi e-commerce here. FGH recently conducted an internal review of their website. It found out that the several items, such as travel bags and clothing across various brands, generally generated lower clicks. The company targeted millennials who are mostly fashion conscious, who tend to compare multiple items. Hence, the result came off as a shock to them. Customer service also received many questions and complaints from users asking why the product selection for fashion items is so few, despite the company partnering with hundreds of suppliers. After looking at the analytics, not many users have been using search feature too for content-heavy website that offer various products. This becomes a question. So the instruction is to identify one root cause using the 5 why analysis. I believe all we have to do is to ask why. For example, uh, why we have to conduct internal review, like we can also start from the problem, yeah. Why uh, not many users have been using search feature? Yeah, those features are very much problematic because it didn't complete the target. Yeah. So let's see what is the answer. Oh yeah, sorry. Remember to break down the root problem, yeah. Ask who, yeah. Ask who, the millennial users. We have the customer service team and IT team. Next, the situation. The company partners with hundreds of fashion item suppliers, but there are some items with few clicks. Yeah, that is the situation. And the CS team got complaints that user don't have access to check those items. The complication is that analytics show that not many users have been using search feature. So here the problem statement is why can't users find the items they are looking for even though those are on the platform? Yeah, so this is the first why. Yeah. We can see here are the first root, yeah, first root of the problem. Let's say users don't know it's possible to search on the website. Maybe the apa magnifier logo is too small or it's invisible. It's all part of UI UX because the search bar icon is not easily to be found. And then why it's not easy to be found because it's on the corner of the page. Why the developers receive such design from the UI team. Jadi ya the root cause is the search bar is badly designed. That is the first. Yeah. We can also have another asking why the search result don't return relevant answer. Yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, the logic to query the keywords are not accurate. Why the search field are too specific? Yeah, for example, the search for bag versus backpack, and we are not designing it for them. And another why is the use case of the search bar is outdated. Yeah, we can connect it also with another problem, yeah. Loading time takes too long, yeah. So people are not even looking from the search bar because searching algorithm is too complicated, query is not efficient. This is how happening when you are asking 5 why analysis. You can always have the broad understanding of the problems. You can decide what is the main and the most relevant problem in your situation and break it down into a smaller pieces that we can execute. For example, here we have three root cause. The first is the search bar is badly designed. Second is the internal team has not been keeping up with the new variety. No updates to reflect the situation. And last is this action item has not been perceived as a priority. Which one is the main problem of the company? It should be discussed with the stakeholder. Another key feature that I would like to emphasize here is the real life example of problem definition. Here is the problem. Low level of productive investment and innovation. Here is the complex example of a problem, and we have to keep asking why in each of the possible problem. For example, the first one is low return to economic activity. Why? Turns out there are two reasons. First is low social returns. Second is low appropriability. And each of them can also have another why, and you can also have another root causes or more and more asking why. Okay, so by asking why, you can have this some sort of bagan or diagram or chart, and this will help you identifying what is the root problem is and where you should prioritize your resources, because we have very limited time, we have limited resources, and we have limited mind capacity also. We have human also have RAM, yeah, so you have to do things properly, and please don't rely too much on multitasking. Start focusing. This is also the 5 tips to improve your critical thinking. So let's.
Every day, a sea of decisions stretches before us. Some are small and unimportant, but others have a larger impact on our lives. For example, which politician should I vote for? Should I try the latest diet craze? Or will email make me a millionaire? We're bombarded with so many decisions that it's impossible to make a perfect choice every time. But there are many ways to improve our chances, and one particularly effective technique is critical thinking. This is a way of approaching a question that allows us to carefully deconstruct a situation, reveal its hidden issues, such as bias and manipulation, and make the best decision. If the critical part sounds negative, that's because, in a way, it is. Rather than choosing an answer because it feels right, a person who uses critical thinking subjects all available options to scrutiny and skepticism. Using the tools at their disposal, they'll eliminate everything but the most useful and reliable information. There are many different ways of approaching critical thinking, but here's one 5-step process that may help you solve any number of problems. 1. Formulate your question. In other words, know what you're looking for. This isn't always as straightforward as it sounds. For example, if you're deciding whether to try out the newest diet craze, your reasons for doing so may be obscured by other factors, like claims that you'll see results in just 2 weeks. But if you approach the situation with a clear view of what you're actually trying to accomplish by dieting, whether that's weight loss, better nutrition, or having more energy, that'll equip you to sift through this information critically, find what you're looking for, and decide whether the new fad really suits your needs. 2. Gather your information. There's lots of it out there, so having a clear idea of your question will help you determine what's relevant. If you're trying to decide on a diet to improve your nutrition, you may ask an expert for their advice or seek other people's testimonies. Information gathering helps you weigh different options, moving you closer to a decision that meets your goal. 3. Apply the information, something you do by asking critical questions. Facing a decision, ask yourself, what concepts are at work? What assumptions exist? Is my interpretation of the information logically sound? For example, in an email that promises you millions, you should consider, what is shaping my approach to this situation? Do I assume the sender is telling the truth? Based on the evidence, is it logical to assume I'll win any money? 4. Consider the implications. Imagine it's election time, and you've selected a political candidate based on their promise to make it cheaper for drivers to fill up on gas. At first glance, that seems great. But what about the long-term environmental effects? If gasoline use is less restricted by cost, this could also cause a huge surge in air pollution, an unintended consequence that's important to think about. 5. Explore other points of view. Ask yourself why so many people are drawn to the policies of the opposing political candidate. Even if you disagree with everything that candidate says, exploring the full spectrum of viewpoints might explain why some policies that don't seem valid to you appeal to others. This will allow you to explore alternatives, evaluate your own choices, and ultimately help you make more informed decisions. This 5-step process is just one tool, and it certainly won't eradicate difficult decisions from our lives, but it can help us increase the number of positive choices we make. Critical thinking can give us the tools to sift through a sea of information and find what we're looking for. And if enough of us use it, it has the power to make the world a more reasonable place.
always been watching that ad for a while, and another video that you can watch for your some sort of soft skill, yeah, you can watch Toastmasters. Those are pretty much interesting public speakers out there in the world. Yeah, so we can always learn from others, especially from this video. We learned that there are tips to improve our critical thinking, even though we cannot solve the problem directly by using these steps, but at least we have more options. Okay, by formulating questions, by asking either the information is valid and utilize our knowledge toward the information, yeah, and other stuff. So we are heading to the third section, yeah, which is the problem solving, which I will be discussing about my experience in multiple company and some of my relevant experience in wawancara, what we call, yeah, in the career testing lah, when you want to apply for a job. Those are pretty much what we are going to discuss in the third section. But before, you can have the 5-minute break, and you can off cam. Maybe you can take a sip of water and stuff. You can stretch your what, and yeah. While our mentor Gilang and Daniela, please, we can also have the game at the same time. Enjoy, guys.
Oke guys, sambil istirahat nih, aku pakai bahasa Indonesia aja ya, karena lebih asik gitu sepertinya. Kalian sudah mendengarkan banyak listening English, pasti mungkin yang gak kebiasa, otak kalian tuh sangat-sangat panas gitu ya. Jadi kita refreshing sedikit dulu, sekalian kalian minum-minum, aku juga bakal ada games nih buat kalian. Ya kelihatan dong. Oh shit. Kita stop sharing sedahulu. Nanti bakal ada tebak gambar seperti yang Kak Daniel waktu itu tadi pas awal-awal games. Jadi di sini tebak gambar juga. Cuma masalahnya bedanya adalah tebak gambar kali ini adalah tentang artis ya guys. Tentang artis. Kalau misalnya tadi movie, kalau misalnya sekarang tentang artis. Caranya sama kayak tadi. Ini ada roti sama. Nah, ini baru contoh ya guys, masih gampang nih. Benar ya, Okto. Jadi ini Brad Pitt. Kenapa bisa Brad Pitt? Karena roti, bread, and fluid, Pitt, Brad Pitt. Ya. Oke. Jadi nanti ininya tentang artis gitu ya guys. Oke, lanjut ke pertanyaan yang kedua. Nah, apa nih guys? Ada orang bersin dan orang lari. Ada orang bersin dan orang lari. Kini adalah ini penyanyi internasional. Penyanyi internasional cowok. Dulu tuh albumnya, kalau misalnya artisnya, album-albumnya tuh kayak foto-foto albumnya dia ada tambah-tambahan, terus bagi, dan lain-lain. Iya, benar. Ed Sheeran. Benar sekali, Ed Sheeran. Kenapa bisa Ed Sheeran? Karena bersin ya. Bersin suara apa? Isin. Isin, terus run. Ed Sheeran. Oke. Lanjut ke pertanyaan berikutnya. Nah, apa nih? Dia artis juga, tapi bukan penyanyi. Dia artis, aktor internasional. Jumpo saya cuma ada. Dia aktor internasional dan dia itu sering main di film action. Kalau itu guys. Aktor internasional dan sering main di film action. Internasional guys, orang luar. Nah, Indonesia. Joe Taslim, weh. Bisa sih, make sense sih, saya bukan. Ayo. Oh, kita sudah menemukan jawabannya. Jawabannya adalah Tom Cruise. Betul sekali, Tom Cruise. Jadi top Cruise. Tom Cruise. Oke, lagi. Ini mulai susah nih. Ini mulai susah. Sekarang 3 gambar. Clue-nya adalah artis internasional, singer, and she's a woman. Singer, internasional. Yes, betul. Lady Gaga. Coba dong, aku mau dengar suaranya dari Balkis. Balkis, kenapa kok bisa jawab Lady Gaga?
Izin bang, izin Kak Gilang, lady, enggak,
iya betul, Lady, enggak, kayak kegampangan dah, nggak expect, kegampangan nih, aku kasih yang lebih susah lagi, ini susah banget, kalian kalau misalnya ada yang bisa jawab keren sih, ini aku pas aku buat juga, aku juga gak ngerti. Ini dia artis Indonesia. Artis Indonesia, ada clue-nya itu aja. Ricky Cuacan. Siapa Ricky Cuacan? Bukan. Artis Indonesia. Artis Indonesia, penyanyi deh. Ayo, ada yang bisa? Misal Daniel Sidal. Coki Cuacan. Rizky Febian, nope. Oke, clue-nya ini clue terakhir ya. Penyanyi dangdut. Artis Indonesia, penyanyi dangdut. Nasar, no. Satu lagi, siapa lagi? Dia penyanyi dangdut gak sih? Iya kayaknya deh. Penyanyi dangdut. Aku lupa. Ivan Gunawan, yes. Ivan Gunawan. Kenapa Ivan Gunawan? Karena itu kan napi. Terus napi dia berbalik badan. Ivan. Jadi napi karena dia balik jadi Ivan. Terus missing dog ini gara-gara dia missing berarti kan gone ya. Gone terus awan. Ivan Gunawan. Oke. Terakhir nih. Ini tadi udah ke-spill sih. Cuma gak apa lah. Ini penyanyi artis Indonesia. Tadi udah kelihatan belum sih? Ayo guys, jawaban apa nih? Go, no. Penyanyi Indonesia. Cewek. Dangdut juga. Ya, benar. Mulan Jamila. Ada yang berani kenapa Mulan Jamila? Coba Pak Syarif deh, Pak Syarif. Kenapa Mulan Jamila, Pak Syarif?
Karena sapimu, terus ada lahan, terus ada jam.
Ya, nah yang cabenya apa?
Cabenya iya jam ila.
Iya betul. Jadi suara sapi, mu, terus lahan, land, jam, sama itu lagi ada orang mila-mila cabe ya guys. Mulan Jamila. Oke. Thank you banget ya. Gimana gamesnya? Kalian sudah mulai terkocok-kocok dan kayaknya tadi penjelasan dari Kak Rifki benar-benar masuk ya tentang critical thinking karena kalian jawabnya ada yang jawabannya benar semua. Aku kira kalian bakal ada yang nggak bisa jawab di satu pertanyaan dan yang ternyata kalian kejawab semua dan berarti Kak Rifki penjelasan kakak tadi selama ini bagus banget karena teman-teman semua sudah mempunyai critical thinking ya. Oke, terima kasih gara-gara waktunya udah 5 menit ya, sudah melewati batas break. So, aku kembalikan ke Kak Rifki.
Yes sir, thank you Gilang. Ya, pretty much ya good game ya, GG. Tough. Oke, let's go to the next apa nih namanya? section. Ah, tough. So the next that we are going to actually learn is about how to utilize our critical thinking in order to solve problem ya. Nah, so I'm gonna put this in the slideshow. Share my screen. Yeah. This is the third section, problem solving. Next, there is another video, but before I would like to emphasize about how the solutions that we have can impact to others and to any businesses. Okay, so you have seen this video, I believe, and some of you may also have seen it pretty much entertaining, but remember there is something that we can learn from this, yeah. So let's go straight to the video.
Peter, come take a look at this. Mr. Daniels.
Look at this. What's this?
The numbers, they keep getting bigger and bigger.
The clicks are off the charts.
Yeah.
Yoshi, it's Walter. We're back.
I need more trees. More trees? I'll get you more trees.
Hey, take a look at wood pulp.
Everything you got on wood pulp right now.
He really loves that thing.
Nah, so what was the main problem? Yeah, the main problem was the baby, yeah. But remember, all of those significant impact are caused by the director or the CEO or the one who makes the call at the first place that we are back. Yeah. So what happened is that he didn't clarify. Okay, he jumped to conclusion that they are back in the business. People start to buy encyclopedia again and again. Yeah, so that more shipping, yeah, more books, more trees, yeah, and all of them are caused by the misleading of information. So this is how distraction could impact our decisions, yeah, and it happened to anyone and in any businesses. Okay, so remember to ask again of what you really think is happening in your mind, because the important thing is not only what is in your mind, but how your mind think about the problem. Nah, so keep asking why will solve this problem at the first place, because asking why, people are starting to buy encyclopedia again, and he will read more and more information and gain the real information in the field dari keadaan sebenarnya. Yeah. So this is only the intermezzo. Next we will continue. We'll get back to the framework about how. So when we are heading to how question, it means that we are solving the problem. Yeah, because we are going to find the potential solutions. So let's see. One of the problem solving that is pretty much the rule of thumb that we can implement in every single cases is the Pareto principle or Pareto rules, 80 to 20. So turns out the 80 to 20 rule maintains that 80% of outcomes comes from only 20% of causes. Yeah. For example, you can see that in this slide, 20% of the world population controls 82% of the world's income, and the 20% of your coworkers create 80% of the problems in the office, for example, yeah. And 20% of patients use 80% of healthcare resources at the first place. Okay, so there are more and more things that we can relate to this 80 to 20 rule, but it's pretty much how we can solve the problem by thinking that the problem is at the details, yeah. Only the small let's say, the small part of us that cause the problem. So we can focus on that 20% in order to solve the 80%. There are pretty much another relevant situation and example, but we just gonna skip this. You can find another resources in, let's say, TikTok. Yeah, it's pretty much interesting to browse and also to scroll around with Pareto principle. Another one is to find potential solution. Nah, so we have talked about asking what, asking why, but finding the potential solution is on another level, because as I say before, we should not only consider the available options, but we have to think out of the box, out of the frame, sometimes creatively. Yeah, here are the way that we can find the potential solution. First is to brainstorming. Remember that brainstorming is asking question every time you find a new information. So by keep brainstorming, you asking more and more question and gain more information. Next is the risk assessment. Remember that all choices have consequences, right? So here in life, we always make choices, and sometimes we make wrong choices from difficult situation. But remember that it is part of our learning. So from our mistake, we can learn that it's not the solution, or at least we understand that it's the risk from that choice that we have taken. Okay, so by assessing the risk, we can conclude that there is more or there is smaller risk from another option. Yeah, so in business, we always learn about calculated risk. For example, you want to make a new Shopee seller account. Either you want to make, let's say, shopping. Yeah, if you want to make a cloud uh, sales, if you want to sell clothes, for example, the risk of selling clothes are you are out of trend. Second, maybe you want to sell fruits. That is pretty much a lot of margin in fruits. So there is another risk, yeah, by selling fruits. The kadaluarsa is pretty much very short period. So that's also the risk that you can, if you cannot make the sale at the same time. And everything that we have always related to the risk, and you have to assess those risks carefully. Yeah. And then another one is decision tree. We have solved this before, yeah, by asking why. When we want to find the problem, for example, we decide which one is the most important problems, yeah, from the decision tree. Next is capability studies. We tend to assume from what we know or what other people know without relying on studies or researches. So if you cannot make your own studies, you can just Googling, maybe brainstorming with ChatGPT and stuff, and ask for them, is there any relevant study towards it? So move by the facts, not assumption. Last is the control chart. Control chart is pretty much the same like the diagram of you're asking why and stuff. And you can also be creative and creating your own potential situation solution. Okay, here also the problem solving methodology, yeah. Develop and verify the solution. So pretty much in these 5 steps, we stuck in the decision tree. Why? Because in decision tree, we sometimes have multiple source of root causes, and it's possible. It's called complication. It happens in health, in statistics. Ada multicollinearitas. There is unnormalized data. There is outliers. Yeah. So there are a lot of problems that we have to solve at the same time. All of them are important to solve. Yeah. So the, let's say, problem solving methodology to develop and verify the solution in this case is to make sure that we have asking enough whys. Sometimes we tend to believe that the data is not normalized. Turn out our data is still less. Jadi kita masih punya sampel yang kecil ternyata. So we have to add more and more data. For example, you can inputize your data, imputation, you can make a dummy data, you can make, let's say, a lot of things that you can do with the data by adding more and more rows, so that we can see the data is more normalized by the population. Okay, so we have to develop and verify the solution. Yeah. Okay, here are the 5 steps of decision tree, because it's pretty much something that we have stuck when we are solving problems. First is to start with your idea. So we have to think about how we could solve a problem. So it could be the solution, and if it is not be the solution, it can also create an opportunity for other solution. For example, our idea is to, let's say, make an emergency meeting. Nah, so when we are trying to, let's say, playing games like impostor, one of us, we start with the emergency button, and emergency meeting is right away occurred. So we add the chance and decision nodes. So we tend to add chances and decision based on the information. Yeah. Peluang, the odds of this guy is an imposter, the facts that is happening. Yeah, we add those chances in our decision tree. Next, the third step is we expand until we reach the endpoints. Yeah, the endpoints could be the, let's say, lack of information, or the time constraint. We are running out of time from the emergency meeting that we have to vote right away. Yeah, we have to expand the information before the deadline. And next is to calculate the 3 values. So we have to act from the data that we have. Yeah, so let's say the imposter A have a lot of facts that say that he is an imposter. We should vote for this guy. Even when it is someone that is pretty much we care about. Yeah, it's sometimes like that. And the last is to evaluate the outcomes. Is this guy really the imposter? If yes, you win. If not, yeah, you find out who the imposter lah. Don't stop right there. Okay. So this is the step of decision tree that keep running and again until you find the solution. Okay. Still in the decision tree problem solving toolbox. For example, here another example. Yeah, we late for bookbar. The cause is that we overslept, the alarm didn't sound, phone battery died. The root cause is no habit to check the battery. The solution is to charge the phone frequently and properly. Or you may have another, let's say, solution. Let's say buying another phone, or buying a jam baker. Yeah, so decision tree pretty much solve the problem. Here are also the hacks. Problem-solving skills are ability to brainstorm and implement the best solution. When it comes to problem-solving, decision trees are powerful tools that can support it in various fields. Okay, so there are more things that we can use as a toolbox, but it always starts with brainstorming, yeah, and also implementing the best solution as we are in our way to get to the main solution of the main problem. So decision tree works. You can always use that in any problem because it always implements the rule of thumb of critical thinking, which is asking for information, verifying the information, and also evaluate. We are getting into the last framework of critical thinking and problem solving, which is do. Okay, so let's say we have the potential solution, yeah, and we want to implement the solution. So let's see, here is the methods for implementing the corrective action. We have the PDCA process, we have standard work, process flow chart, control plans, control charts, and error proofing. First, implement the PDCA process. Yeah, plan, do, check, and act. Nah, remember that planning is part of the act. Yeah, before we do, we must always start with planning. So it is an improvement cycle based on the scientific method of proposing a change in the process, implementing the change, measuring the result, and taking appropriate action. Okay. The one thing that I want to emphasize here is the check. Selalu recheck sebelum ke gocek. And that is pretty much what you are going to do in the real world scenario. Because every time you make a mistake, you are not doing yourself a favor. You feel me? So let's say that you are doing some sort of small mistakes that we are not intend to do it, but somehow it happens, right? It happens because we didn't do a proper check or even recheck. So we have to do recheck here. So that is some sort of mitigation when we are executioning a plan before we act. Okay, so PDCA method. Remember to plan, do it, and recheck it before you submit it. Use your time. Take your time every time, because it's pretty much the thing that is happening in our life today is not as, let's say, important as we think. Yeah, it's important, but at some point we're gonna realize that there is something more important than it. That it is not as important as we thought at that time. Okay, so it called like the another bias, like urgency bias. We thought it was very urgent. Turns out it's not. Yeah, and we solve that by PDCA because we can always recheck it. Okay. Next, we are going to the next important part of this lesson is fail fast but succeed faster. This video is pretty much cut it ya, jadi kita nggak punya video fullnya, but it's okay. I hope you can analyze from this video what the Changi Airport trying to do, what problem they are going to solve, and how the solution is actually implemented. Is it running? If it's not running, what is happening in Changi Airport? So please take a look at this video.
200 volunteers will take part in an experiment to trial the new technology in place.
Learning a team is a little jittery. We were having trial participants from the members of public who are totally unfamiliar with the systems. It's the first time they are interacting with all this equipment.
Anyone for Spring at 990?
These volunteers are meant to simulate the journey of passengers and must pass through all new automated stages. Check-in, bag drop, immigration, and boarding. All this without coming into contact with ground staff. Having worked at Changi Airport for 6 years, today is Kelvin's ultimate test.
It is easier for the more tech-savvy or the young ones, but we wanted to make sure that even an 80-year-old grandmother could go through it with as minimal assistance as possible.
How many luggage do you have to bring?
One.
And then
Got the key.
plus, yes.
So you just basically just follow the steps.
We are part of Singapore, part of Changi Airport. The technology have changed from Terminal 1 and up to Terminal 4.
While the volunteers prepare for the experience, Singapore's Changi Airport is gearing up for a brand new terminal. Counting down to opening, the team are ensuring the security of new automated systems. At the trials, the focus is now on the immigration stage.
Each time a passenger is entering into an area of a higher security, you have to show proof that your identity is indeed a valid one.
In Changi's other terminals, security staff check a passenger's likeness against their passport picture. At Terminal 4, the team has made a breakthrough.
if I want to do a verification of your thumbprint right now, I need to first have in my database a record of your thumbprint. But facial recognition is simple. I just have to have your passport photo or any kind of photo for that matter.
The facial recognition gates use a matching process. Using the eyes as an anchor, the technology analyzes prominent facial features and calculates the distances between them. The photo taken and the passport must match to allow the person through.
So this person over here, you can see these points on his face who's slightly angled. What the system does is it's intelligent enough to automatically move those points back to where they should be. And from there, it creates a full frontal symmetrical image that looks something like this.
But today, the technology is facing teething problems. Some volunteers have not been allowed through the gates.
So this is the status for today.
Okay. In this case, it is a biometric rejection.
Yes, correct.
They try to understand if it's got to do with the passport's quality, passengers' behavior, ergonomics. From this data, we are able to track the reasons surrounding it. That we can.
Okay, so the video is not full, but it's okay. So let me summarize. Even the most, let's say, satisfied, not satisfied, the most advanced airport in the world still having a problem. Okay, so first I need someone who can tell me what are the problems from the video that is highlighted by Changi Airport. Anyone? You can raise your hand. I'll give you a clue about fail fast, but succeed faster. Anyone can raise your hand and discuss. Passengers cannot enter because data mismatch. Exactly. Anyone else? Thank you, Balkis. Benar tuh Balkis. But there are still a lot of problem from the previously shown video. Let me give you the clue. It's all about the OGs, about the old healths, about grandmas and grandpas. Anyone? The problem that is actually happening in every single tech company in the world. Yeah, I could say that. Anyone? If you can solve this problem, I believe you can get into Google lah. Because it's pretty much the thing that we emphasize in the tech companies. It's all about user experience boleh nih Albertus Magnus Foresta. Please.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, I think mostly it's the unfamiliarity with the new system.
How is that?
Because most of them, especially the older generation, haven't touched that kind of technology before.
Exactly. And what do you think we can do about it? What we can do about it?
I think, first of all, it needs some socialization, like how the staff teach the older generation, especially like the one that shown in the video, where the staff telling the passenger to choose which terminal they want to go by choosing the number.
Okay.
I think that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Albert. Yeah, exactly, Albert. And Balkis, can you unmute ya? Ini Balkis, passengers cannot enter because data mismatch ya. What do you think the solution to that problem? Please unmute.
Okay. Am I audible, Bang Rifki? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Am I audible, Kak Rifki?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Kak. I don't think I can put this up, but I'll try. Because about the passengers cannot enter because data mismatch. It's because the AI I don't know it's about the AI or not. It's like the data on your database, and your current face is different, and the AI cannot distinguish it well. It's just like you haven't the passport system is not it's maybe not compatible, maybe it's considered old. I heard about that.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's like maybe it's like you're scanning through your friends old uh alumni book, your years book, and then you look at your friend who is now 4 or 3 years older, and you cannot recognize them anymore. So the data on your database, and the data on your database, the data on the passport, and the current person today does not match and cannot enter the gates.
So the solution is,
That's
yeah.
so I think the solution is uh to improve the AI and database more, and also improve, well, and also making uh, uh, maybe teaming up with the customers themselves, so they can help us to get better insights on how to serve them better.
Oke, mantap. Oke, very good Albert dan Bakis ya. Remember when you are explaining something, you have to restate the solution. I mean the answer, the highlight of the answer. You must, let's say, link back. So in debate, let me share my experience real quick. I was part of English debating club when I was in high school and in college. So we were always learning about RL, assertion, reasoning, evidence, link back. Nah, yang keempat, sorry, link back is something that most of people forget because, yeah, it's at the end, right? But remember that you have to package your argument really, really good in order to be considered as a good argument. Okay, so link back is something that we emphasize at the end of our speech or our argument or our letter. So it most of the time is the main idea of what we were saying. Okay, like Balkis, you can emphasize on the solution maybe. So the solution is to add the database and get the feedback from the customer. Yeah, it is the, let's say, wrap up of what we have been saying for the last 2 minutes. And Albertus, same, very good argument, yeah. You give very well reasoning, but remember to link back about the main problem that they are facing is about how they utilize their technology into the broad users. So it's all about how we make sure that our solution will cover everyone. Yeah. So when you are saying it like that, it's pretty much restate your argument in a short way, and people will be remembering your argument more, let's say, more strength lah. They will remember your argument better when wheeling back, because that's how our brains work. Human brains work by connecting neurons, like what we have learned in machine learning path. More epoch or more repetition, and the more time we are listening to something or repeating something, our connection in our brains, there will be a stronger connection between neurons. Same things happen when you are explaining something. That's why I repeat again and again from my experience and my slides before about critical thinking and problem solving, because that is part of human learn, and that's part also about how machine learns. So yeah, thank you for Daniel and sorry for Balkis and Albertus. Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Before we discuss, I would like to discuss actually, but we have to finish the slides. Okay, fail fast but succeed faster. Once you come up with a prototype, directly test it. That is the first one, because at the short period of time, we will be having the capstone project, yeah. And remember that you have time constraint in that. You have very short time for you to realize your prototype. And I suggest to integrate it as much as possible before it's even perfect. So don't really run for perfection, but remember that your prototype must have your promised features. Oke, pokoknya intinya once you come up with prototype, directly test it because there will be problem, trust me. Next is observe directly so you can identify whether there are pain points. Okay, so by observing what happening during the test, for example, you can identify whether you have your weak points that you can evaluate before the time is up. So yeah, make sure to observe on the details and especially on the weak points. Another one is if the solution doesn't fit, don't wait for perfection, execute it right away, because the best solution is the one that is being done. Then the solution that is keep asking why, but you don't even start to do it right away. Yeah. So remember, even the solution does not fit, don't wait for perfection, just do it right away. There will be time for us to evaluate. Next, use the data you gather to identify the aspect that you can fix. Here by using the data, we can identify the aspects from the logic, not from our emotion. Okay. And last is to repeat the process until the solution fix the root cause. Okay. Another tips, ini tips mulu nih ya. Understand the root cause in work life. This works, but most of the time you have to pretty much expand the way of our way solving problem, because most of the time we highlight ourselves as the main character. We are the first person protagonist of this world. Yeah, remember that sometimes you have to highlight another person in order to solve problem. For example, here you have to ask politely. Yeah, let's take the Changi Airport problem. The first one about how we manage the older generation, as they have never seen those technologies before. It's not their fault, right? So remember to ask politely. Ask for them maybe about how to connect your WhatsApp into the web app WhatsApp, how to download Instagram Reels, how to, yeah, a lot of how, but remember to do it politely. Next is creating work pit stop for constant checking. In data field, we always have a lot of data. And sometimes we have to batch those data. Okay, let's say you have a real-time data from the API that you are using, and you have to emphasize on the specific period. Yeah, and for each period you have to constantly checking, is there any crash in this data? Is there anything that could impact the model? keep asking, yeah. And you set the epoch, you set the time for the checking. For the medical checkup, for example, you do it 3 times a month. You go to dentist 6 months in a year. Yeah. So those timeline, yeah. Create a pit stop. Create the timeline. Last is to cultivate a culture of critical thinkers in the workplace. Yeah, culture is part of how we adapt to changes, and it's part of the previous adaptability session. Yeah, but remember that critical thinkers also adaptive person. Why? Because they keep growing, because they keep evaluating. So cultivate a cultural critical thinkers in the workplace is pretty much the root cause in work life, because most of the time we don't want to change. Humans, not humans, but let's say human nature. It's not humans' fault. It's human nature to reject changes. We have the risk assessment from our ancestor before, that if it's dangerous, we have to think about it multiple times. Yeah. So before we jump into changes, we have to make sure that it is safe, make sure that it's proper, yeah, and recheck that again, as we have told before. And there's more and more problems in work life, but remember that every problem must have the solution. It's like the human nature also. Okay, here are the takeaways to help to think critically. Try to look at multiple scenarios, find out why things are happening, do more research to have better point of view. Framework is a tool. Critical thinking is a habit. So we have learned in the session about asking what, asking why, yeah, asking how, and at last we have to do it. Okay, don't just keep asking, but do it. Just do it. There are constraints every time, and that is what is happening every day. So make sure to make critical thinking as a habit. So I would like also to share a book, Atomic Habit. So it emphasize about the bullet train in Japan. It has the system, and the system is working properly, no problem, no issues. Even for the last, let's say, 10 years, there is no evidence that this bullet train could have casualties. Nggak pernah ada korban dalam pelaksanaan SOP-nya. But Japan still don't want to jump to conclusion, because their habit is good doesn't mean that there will be no problem in the future. They emphasize on human intervention. Even the gate of the commuter line is automatic, and there is the AI that could detect whether or not there is someone that is crossing the line. Still, there is someone who is guarding the lines. Yeah, make sure that our passenger didn't pass the yellow lines. Make sure that the gate is properly open. Those standard of procedure keeps a good habit. So habit is not jumping to conclusion. It helps you with the toolbox that you have learned before. But remember that you still need that toolbox to make sure you don't jump to conclusion, because problems may occur that we didn't see that coming before. Okay. Hey, relax. We are still have some times to discuss. Yeah. How many time left, mentors? Because I'll try to discuss with the student.
Okay. For 4 minutes left, Kak.
Nah, man. Okay, anyone want to discuss maybe about work-life balance or some working stuff lah, the boring one. Anyone? It could be related to critical thinking or the tech industries. Is it worth it to learn blockchains? Boleh nih, Gani Rafif. Yeah, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I want to ask about the why method previously to find the root cause. Like we find the root cause with asking why, right? So I also heard that causality and correlation is different. We ask why to find the root cause because it is the causality, right? So how can we differentiate like causality and correlation? Yes.
Gani dari machine learning ya?
Yeah.
I knew it. Okay, anything else, Gani?
Just
Udah ya?
that.
Sip. Thank you for the question. Yeah, it's very good question. Okay, let's start with the difference ya. Causality is there is the cause and there is the, let's say, the caused. Ada yang memberi pengaruh, ada yang terpengaruh. Turns out in the correlation or bener ya, korelasi tadi ya. In the correlation kita nggak tahu nih, either this one is the one who caused the problem or this one is the one who caused the problem. So the causality is like one way of relationship. But the correlation, there's no way of how the things could go. For example, let's say the correlation between the number of jomblo in Indonesia is getting higher, ya. But somehow the number of pendukung LGBTQ is getting lower. Nah, so for example, jadi ini dua nih. At the same time, we think that there must be a cause and effect in this situation. Turns out there's not. Okay, so remember, don't jump to conclusion when you see two data and go straight forward to run it into the model, especially in your machine learning. Don't ever do that. You have to make sure that you do a proper EDA, exploratory data analysis, ya, to make sure that the correlation is actually part of the cause and the cause one. Jadi korelasi belum tentu hubungan sebab akibat, tapi itu bisa menjadi potensi dari hubungan sebab akibat. Nah, so ketika korelasinya tinggi, ya belum tentu itu punya hubungan sebab akibat. So there's a lot of more example that I can emphasize, but do you get the point, Gani?
Yes. Can I clarify my question again?
Boleh.
Pakai bahasa Indonesia ya.
Yes sir, santai aja.
Jadi kan kalau cari root cause itu kan pakai why gitu kan.
Yeah.
Jadi kan why itu kita root cause-nya ketemu causality-nya. Nah, kadang itu bingung apakah saat tanya why apakah ini benar-benar causality atau cuma korelasi saja gitu.
Okay. Good question. Okay. Ya. Okay. Gimana cara jawabnya? Because most of the time the answer is setidaknya pasti punya relevansi ya. Pasti relevan jawabannya. Nah, tapi kita gimana sih cara ngecek apakah itu benar-benar sebab dan akibat? Caranya adalah dengan melihat jawaban sebelumnya. Jadi kita bukan pertama kali orang di dunia yang mendapati suatu masalah. Trust me. Somebody and someone in the other side of the world have already got into that problem before and they solved that and post that on on GitHub. Yeah. So remember to check community when anytime you find a difficult situation and you doubt whether or not you have the solution ya, whether or not you have the cause. Ya, kita bisa coba sendiri, kita bisa otak-atik sendiri. Kalau kita overheat laptop bisa aja SSD-nya bermasalah, atau kita bisa simply open the community and search in that kenapa laptop overheat, which is my case ya lately. Ternyata ada kasus yang lain, baterainya yang kena. Nah, so those could give you more information, and whether or not it is the main cause, ya, you can always evaluate Bahkan jika itu nggak berpengaruh, kita bisa evaluasi ya, kita bisa tahu, oh ini bukan cause-nya, tapi ini cuman korelasinya aja. Ya udah, kita cari lagi, apakah ini cause-nya? Kalau bukan, kita cari lagi. Ya, remember to not stop at one point. Itu sih Gani dari aku. Remember that we are not the first to solve that problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Hope it helps ya. Anyone else? Sebelum diinterupsi nih. I'll be very happy to discuss ya. You can reach me from email, LinkedIn, and stuff. You can also get with the mentor. Mentornya jago-jago sih. Gue respect banget sama mentornya. Thank you guys for having me. I think that's a wrap, Daniel ya. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. While you waiting for asking, you can also complete the quiz, and the quiz only can be completed during the ILT session, I guess. So after the ILT session, you can answer the quiz. Okay, guys, and while you while you ngerjain ini quiz, you can ask our instructor. We still have like 7 minutes before we end this session.
Tanya, Kak, jadi PNS worth it nggak?
Gimana, Mas? Worth it nggak?
Aduh, di sesi yang lain lah ya. Nggak boleh di-spill.
Tapi grow nggak, Kak? Grow nggak?
Hey, depends on you, bro. For real. I grow. Ya, jadi grow juga ya, dikit ya.
Nggak, tapi PNS membantu untuk grow atau di luar PNS yang membantu untuk grow?
Actually, it depends on your instansi. Ada banyak dependence-nya, tapi overall, ya, aku berani bilang kalau PNS tuh sekarang udah benar-benar emphasize on self growth and self development. Even in some instansi, it's not the prioritize ya. Oke. Anyone? Tadi ada yang ini nih, unmute nih. Kenapa Rizky mau tes ini? Kementerian Sultan, Kemen Sultan. Ya,
Enggak. Tapi banyak yang bilang tech environment di kementerian itu ya working culture-nya sangat beda gitu. Dari tech industry pada umumnya.
Ya. Soalnya, waduh, ini gua spill ntar ya. Udah nggak apa-apa dah. Jadi kita punya banyak OGs di sini. Ya biasalah, senioritas. And itu jadi culture yang benar-benar mengekang, kayak siklus. Jadi ketika kita udah jadi senior, ntar kita ternyata gitu juga tanpa kita sadari. Itu banyak yang ya, terbuka ke kami anak-anak baru bahwa sebenarnya mereka nggak niat mau jadi bapak etika, enggak. Cuman mereka besar dengan melihat senior yang seperti itu. So we cannot blame them ya for what is happening. But fortunately, people are starting to realize that, and we have a lot of program that is happening, and yeah, part of adaptability and change, nilai beraneka, nilai berakhlak. Kalau BUMN akhlak, yeah, those core values could be the salah satu yang mendorong kita untuk bisa terus berkembang. Kita bisa jadikan itu alasan. Ngapain belajar Python? Biar bisa otomatisasi ini, Pak. Wah, coba otomatisasi ini. Apa tuh, Pak? Tingkatin engagement Instagram. Wah, siapa? Gua beli itu follower dah. Gampang, kelar. Enggak. Itu nggak terjadi ya. Nggak terjadi. Forget that. Yeah, hope you guys answer the quiz optimally ya.
Okay, guys, the time is up. Time is up. So before we end this session, there was actually additional information ya. Itu adalah first skill soft skill challenge. Nih soft skill challenge pertama kita ya. Nah, kalau misalnya kalian ingin dapat more points, go check out screen flyer buat nanti ketentuan-ketentuan. Dan juga jangan lupa ngisi feedback. Oke, mungkin dari aku gitu aja. Mungkin dari Kak Rifki, aku serahkan kembali.
Ngapain kita nih? Mabar.
Is there anything you want to add, sir?
Udah bang, capek bang.
Okay, alright. So, ya udah dapat sinyal dari beliau ya. Sudah saatnya kita beristirahat. So jadi thank you guys for attending for this session. It was a blast. The game session was successful. The material as Drift give to you guys successfully. So I hope you have a part tonight because tomorrow will be another grind ya. So thank you guys for today's session. You can leave. You guys can leave. Thank you so
guys.
much.
Bye. See you.
Terus Kak.
Bye.